Just like that.
Hey everybody, it's Old School Hard back with another review for you guys. So first things first, please subscribe to the channel if you are not a subscriber. Please also share this video on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, or wherever you can share this. Please also thumbs up this video if you like this and you want to see other reviews from me similar to the one that I've done on Kalief Browder. And please comment below. Let me know if you loved the documentary 6-part series. Let me know if you've experienced anything in the judicial system that you felt was unfair or unjust. Let me know your thoughts on the review itself. Let me know other reviews that you would like to see me do. That would be great. So let's just get into it. This is the sixth episode of the Kalief Browder documentary brought to us by Jay-Z by the way of Spike TV. Once again, if you have not been able to check out any episodes, please go ahead and watch episodes 1 through 5 of my reviews and also 1 through 5 of the actual documentary, and then come back and watch this one. That would be great. I want to say thank you to everybody who watched episode 1. Those numbers just keep coming up. You have made that my #1 video review, sorry. And I'm just so happy about that. Thank you so much to those of you who watched that. And if you haven't gotten a chance, I can't emphasize it enough. Go back and watch episode 2, 3, 4, 5, and this last one. So let's just get into it. This one is not going to be a long review. Um, this one picks back up from episode 5, and it just pretty much gives you another more detail on Kalief's suicide. So, you have him, talking to his best friend and saying, hey, come over and hang with me for a little bit. When you get down at your grandparents or your parents' house, you have his Kalief Browder's mom saying that, he was saying the day before that they were coming to get him, that it was that they said they weren't going to take any more of his crap. And so, he was very paranoid and very anxious the day before. You have a text message going back and forth from him to Rosie O'Donnell. And I will say this, I did not know Rosie was as, I don't know the word that I want to use. I didn't know that she was like really involved emotionally and supported him as much as she did. Sometimes when we think about celebrities, sometimes we don't see them in the light that we should. Not saying that I didn't like Rosie O'Donnell. I'm just saying that, number one, I didn't pay that much attention to her. And the only thing that I can remember her from is The View and just some of those arguments that she had. But just looking at this, like, I was literally almost in tears, just how emotional she was about him, and how, in those last days, he reached out to her and he said, I'm just tired, so I'm going to break away a little bit. And she just said, anything that you need, you let me know. I'm supporting you. I love you. And I just want you to be okay. And that's just amazing that he could reach out to someone like her, and her having invested, that's what the word I wanted to use, an invested, relationship in him, and invest time and energy into him, when in reality she doesn't have to. She has adopted kids of her own, so she really does not have to do this, but she had invested energy and love for Kalief. And so that was really sad, to see how emotional she was, which totally made me just cry like crazy. so so that's what we see. So they show, him in his casket, the outcry afterwards, and basically how the way that Kalief set it up, was to leave an impact and to have somebody take on from there. And I believe that, like I said in the last video, that was his ultimate goal. Is he said to himself, how many more brothers have been through this and have taken a plea deal, you know. So he started the talk. He started the revolution. And they compared it to how Emmett Till's mother released those pictures, and just how that started the civil rights movement. And we know that was we know it was, a lot of things were done before that, but when Rosa Parks saw that picture, she just things just blew up from there. Not that she wasn't doing work before then, it just was at that very moment, it was just enough for her. And so that was the same for Kalief. It's like, this is enough. How many more people have to go through this? So I will be the instrument used. I will be the one that comes out and says something. I will do that. And once he did that, it helped his mother and his brothers and his sister to then take on the fight. And I think that's something that he felt settled that they would do. Once he committed suicide. And so basically his mom takes on that role after he commits suicide. And she talks about how she never ever talked, that she always kept her comments to her family. But when it came to Kalief and this story, she knew that she had to speak. And so that's why you then see her on different news outlets, on newspaper articles, telling Kalief's story at college, universities, and things of that nature. To get Kalief's story out there. And basically she was at the forefront, and she had to be. She knew that Kalief, that's what he wanted, and that's what he was asking for. And she knew he also was tortured, he also was beaten, and he also developed these schizophrenia demons because of it. And so she most definitely could not let that just go and let that end. So she became basically the forefront for Kalief. Because of that, that caused like tremendous issues with her, unfortunately. And one of those issues is that punk ass estranged husband of hers. Y'all, I'm sorry, but that motherfucker right there, and I'm sorry I'm using that language. I am so sorry. I don't like to use that language very much. But that nigga, he's the epitome of an asshole. Like, I couldn't think of another word to say other than he is the epitome of an asshole. Okay, so you're estranged from your wife forever, right? Okay, you disregard Kalief throughout the whole estrangement. When Kalief gets arrested, you have a job that's good enough to pay the $900 bond to get him out, and you refuse to because you also believe that he's bad and he should get what he deserves. You don't visit him at all in Rikers Island. You do not make a phone call. You do not go to any court cases or anything like that. I doubt that this sucker even attended the funeral. I don't know if he did. So if he did, I apologize for that. But you don't do any of that. You don't attend the funeral. After he gets out of jail, you don't even make conversation with him. I said barely, sorry. You don't make conversation with him. And what's so funny is Kalief doesn't even mention you, but because you are estranged from your wife and Kalief has committed suicide and there is a civil case going on, instead of signing the waiver that says that Kalief's mom will get whatever is given in this wrongful death lawsuit, you decided you're not going to sign it, and you now appoint your own lawyer to take part in the case as well because you feel like you should be owed money too for Kalief's distress and pain while in Rikers Island. That junk just really, really pissed me off. It's just the epitome of a nigga move. Like, really? Wow, like it's just so hard to comprehend that this man gonna try to act so sincere now. You ain't been on the forefront at all. I ain't seen this man at no protest or nothing. And here he comes out of nowhere, just, oh, I just want justice for Kalief. Justice for Kalief. You don't want justice for Kalief. You know that there's a $20 million lawsuit and you want it. So I was really, really pissed about that. So then there was a lot going on in this one, but let me just give you just an overview of basically some of the other stuff that was talked about. So Robert Johnson is giving a seat, a judge seat, a judicial judge seat. I can't remember what, a Senate seat. I believe he was given a Senate seat. Robert Johnson, who was a district attorney of New York at the time, was given a Senate seat. And so he was replaced by Darcel Clark. Now, these two fools decided to go to a panel or whatever and talk about the Kalief Browder case and injustice in New York, period, as far as CPD. And basically, nobody really wanted to take the blame. Robert Johnson, sorta. No, that wasn't Robert Johnson. Norman Seabrooks gave an apology, but not really an apology. Darcel Clark, who took over as district attorney and was appointed by her peers and not necessarily elected. And sorry if I get that wrong, but I think that's how it went. Basically, she kind of sort of apologized, but she pretty much said, I had a lot going on. It's just like, can y'all just say y'all sorry? Like, can y'all just say y'all sorry and get this family $20 million and let them, like, let Kalief rest in peace? Like, can y'all do that? No. Everybody just seems to, like I said in my previous video, point the finger. Oh, I didn't have nothing to do with it. I was too busy. I was too busy. I had a lot going on. And if there's a lot going on, then something needs to be fixed. You know, it shouldn't be to the point where we keep saying, I was overwhelmed with work. If you're overwhelmed with work, then we need to think of some other things that need to be done. We can have a lot of more people employed if there's an issue. Because we already know black men, especially in New York, in Chicago, in Milwaukee, all are desperate for jobs. So even if that means a person looking over the paperwork, marking it, bam, there we go. Next case, marking the paperwork, bam, why is this case going on? Something. I mean, work can be done. You know, so to say you're overwhelmed and, oh, it wasn't me and I didn't know what was going on, is just an excuse, Darcel. They also talk about Norman Seabrook, who was the union, head of the union for the officers, the New York Police Department. I want to keep saying CPD. I'm so sorry. I'm in Chicago. Sorry. New York Police Department, and then the officers at Rikers Island. I believe he was a part of the whole union for the both of them. And so they talked about, he was the one who apologized, which is kind of funny to me because this whole time during the whole Kalief Browder stuff, he was in defense of the officers. Like, you don't know what's going on in there. You think rapists and killers come in there and they're like, I'm going to be nice to the officer. Okay. So Norman gave a half-ass apology. And then we find out that he takes kickbacks and hides the money in expensive bags, which is quite hilarious to me. And then he's found out his home is raided. He's found out, you know, all this illegal stuff has went on. Basically, he wanted his own payback. Basically, to be honest with you, he had been probably hiding a lot of secrets and was like, look, if I'm going to have all this shit, I'm going to most definitely get some money for it. It's my time to get money for it. That's what was told, was that he told somebody that, like, I should be getting some type of compensation. So basically, that is what happened. So during this whole time, like I said, it's just basically just going back and forth. I didn't do it, you did it. I didn't do it, you did it. And so this, of course, causes continuum after continuum after continuum after continuum of the actual civil lawsuit. So all during this time, you have Kalief Browder's mom, who in reality is very, very, very sick. And has heart issues, has had several heart attacks, and she was depressed, very, very depressed. And I will say this, like, you guys remember when they did that interview for Kalief to possibly go on that vacation out in the wild, and it's just for convicted felons or people who were in jail. And, you know, they chose him, but they had to wait for funding and things of that nature. Because Kalief was so consumed by it, I think that's what happened with his mom as well. She became very consumed by it. And I wish that somebody would have said, you need to get away. You know, that same trip that was offered to Kalief, I wish, and would have prayed that that same thing would have been offered to her, because it consumed her and it depressed her, because this is her child. This isn't something that she goes to court and, you know, they're going through these litigations and she walks out, she's cool. It's not like TV. This is like real life shit. And during these, you know, during the process, during the lawsuit, you know, you're going back over stuff that happened at the jail. You're going back over his childhood. You're going back over what he ate when he was 5. You're going back over how he felt when he was 13. So the constant reminder of who Kalief was and who he wasn't and who he didn't get a chance to be, the constant reminder of who he was as a person keeps coming into play. And of course, it causes severe depression and anxiety. And I think that's what was happening with her. And, you know, they put out a wrongful death lawsuit because they decided that because Kalief uh, committed suicide, it was a result of being at Rikers Island for 3 years and being in solitary confinement for a number of days, for over 300 days. And I think that there should be 2 wrongful suit cases. I think that wrongful death sorry, wrongful death lawsuits. I think the first one most definitely should be Kalief, and the second one should be his mom. Yes, she had heart failure. Yes, she stopped taking her medication, like we found out in this episode. But a lot of that had to do with, number one, Kalief being arrested. 2, him being in solitary confinement for over 300 days. 3, for being locked up, period, at Rikers Island. So I just feel like that's 2. That's not 1, you know. So I think they're owed $40 million. Not to mention her shit of an estranged husband also wanted to take away the house. The same house that she helped raise Kalief in, the same house that Kalief committed suicide in. And it's just heartbreaking that he would even go that far, you know. And so I just really felt for her. I got really emotional about her. And unfortunately, she died in 2016. This is 6 days, I believe, after the press release for the documentary that we are just finished watching. And so that was really, really sad that she lost her life fighting for this. But I think that she was also tired. I believe that one of her kids said that, you know, she was tired, you know, and there was just a lot of weight on her. It was just a lot of weight on her. And the sucky part is her estranged shithead of a husband, 3 days after she died, decided to sell the house. So, of course, they had to move out all of Kalief's stuff and her stuff and pack up and things like that. Man, you're just an ass. Like, I can't think of anything else to say to you other than you're just an ass. So at this very moment, from what I saw in the video from the episode, was that because Kalief committed suicide and Mrs. Browder lost her life, passed away, that now they are going through pretty much the process of choosing somebody to take over as administrator of the lawsuit. And basically when that happens, it pretty much means that New York City probably will not try the case. And the brother said that it was causing like a rift in the family because, you know, somebody has to be chosen to receive this money. And of course, when money's involved, emotions are involved. The dad is still involved as well, and he doesn't deserve anything. It looked like they was going to come to blows with his ass. I wish they would have knocked his ass all the way out. I really wish they would have. So at this point, they're looking for an administrative to take over this case. Hopefully they choose one of the brothers or sisters. Whoever can handle it, I don't even care. Just don't let it be the dad. He does not deserve shit. And I hope that they give him $5. Like, I hope that he doesn't get any more of the money. But like the district attorney, I mean, the attorney said for Kalief Browder that the longer this goes and the more continuums they have, the less likely it is for them to keep the case, civil case going. So we shall see. Hopefully I can find out some news on how we can keep this case alive, what we can do. There have been most definitely protests and people, you know, most definitely continuing to say Kalief Browder's name and to bring him up and the case up and things of that nature. So I am most definitely hoping that somehow we can keep this case going and that family can have some type of a closure, since they don't want to apologize at all. Not, excuse me, that apology is enough. I'm just saying, since they don't want to apologize, you can cough over that $20 million for pain and suffering, because y'all made that whole goddamn family pain and suffer. Just a little bit of some of what else they talked about. So they are closing Rikers Island, which I heard about that a long time ago. Um, and it won't erase anything that has happened there. It has been some shitty stuff that has happened there, so it won't erase anything. Um, it just won't. Uh, And I believe there are a lot more Kalief Browder stories that are going to come out, even as they tear it down and they do the whole process. Excuse me if I do not know if Rikers Island is already down. I do apologize for that. Um, and then we see that Barack Obama has asked the Attorney General to reduce the solitary confinement. Even while I was working in the jail that I was working in, they had actually changed the name of it from segregation or solitary confinement to smart housing unit. And basically, that unit has changed a little bit of its rules. I know segregation when I was there was 23 hours in cell, 1 hour out. I believe you got 1 hour out per shift, so that was 3 hours out. I believe you got 3 hours out. It just depends. I have to check on that, but I know that you could come out during 7 to 3 or 3 to 11, and then I don't think you were out at all at night. So they are changing the rules a little bit. And then also, like I said before, if you've been in there for a number of days, they let you come out for a full day. So like I said, I did have segregation ladies. And if they were given more than 30 days in segregation, then they would get a day or two out in the general pop and be able to stay there for 2 days. So yes, now that we have cameras, we know that we could see a lot more, and everything is viewed now. I'm not saying everything is right, but everything is viewed now. So what happens is, you know, when a person gets put in segregation, they're most definitely going to go over that video just to make sure that nobody else is in the wrong but that person. And usually they are in there for fighting reasons. Of course, it's hard to check to see how it all started. Like with Kalief Browder's situation, he basically fought because the boy spit on him earlier in the day. So it's hard to know when those type of situations are happening. So they are trying to get better with it. And in defense of people that I know that are officers that I love and I appreciate and have protected me while I was in jail, working, I will say that there are some who most definitely do their jobs and there are some who are assholes. And that's everywhere you work, but it just doesn't make it better when it's jail. But you get put in segregation a lot of times, from what I've seen, by something you've done. And so like the incident I just told you about the girl, she smacked this other girl, like they just fought. I don't know what the reason was, and she really didn't want to explain it. Other than she said the bitch needed to be hit. So she had segregation for more than 30 days, and then she was out for a couple of days, and then she was brought back to segregation. So like I said, they are now calling it smart housing unit, where I was. So They are making strides, but it's not enough. And I think it's important that we keep Kalief's name going. We most definitely keep it alive. Even though mom's not here, let's do her a favor. Let's do Kalief a favor and keep their names out there. Let them know that we love them, that we care about them, and we're not letting this shit go. Like, and we shouldn't let this shit go. It should never have gotten that bad, ever. And due process and time is important. And we didn't do justice by Kalief, but we're going to do it better by our Black brothers. So it's important that we make sure we keep his name alive. I thoroughly enjoyed this documentary from episode 1 to episode 6. I thank Jay-Z for doing this. And he's got some things in the works. Like he has Emmett Till's documentary coming to HBO. And I'm a huge fan of HBO documentaries. And I just cannot wait for this documentary. And he has some more stuff coming up. But I'm truly excited, just head over heels excited for this Emmett Till documentary. I mean, there have been a couple that I've seen already that have been really good. So I'm anticipating HBO and Jay-Z to do a very good job on this one. So like the video, thumbs up the video. Let me know what other reviews that I can do for you since this is over. It's over. It's over. Let me know what else I can do, what else I can review. I also do television shows as well. So this isn't the only thing that I do, but this is the most exciting. But let me know what else you want to see. Thank you for watching episodes 1 through 5. Thank you for chilling with me every Wednesday. This is Old School Heart. Have a good night.